Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to be multitasking. I have the maple sap boiling outside, as you just saw, and the brake lines came in all the components to make up that part of the braking system. So I'm going to start from the master cylinder and work my way down. I have a flaring kit for making up brake lines out of just a roll of 3/16 brake line material. The main line that comes from the master cylinder is a 1/4-inch line, and I just got that a prefab piece because I figure it'd be easier and I can really get it a close measurement to know what that piece would be in measurement size. So I'm going to get underway. The flares for this are actually double flares. So that's a little new to me because typically anything that we do in refrigerant or in plumbing or oil work is usually just a single flare. So to make it a double flare, you actually use these adapters that you use first. So I'm going to get set up a little bit more and start on my first flare. So as you can see, the old brake line, which is right here, went right through this space right here and goes underneath the vehicle from there. So I'm going to have to just bring a new line up through there. I just want to see how that comes down through. So here I am underneath the vehicle, and I can see where that brake line came down through. I'm going to see if I can pull that through this way, if it's easier to get back into this area. It's a little bit tight up in there. You know what, I'll bring you guys back once I get that out. All right, now that I get the old one out, I actually started putting the new line up through that side there. And now I'm going to work it up to the master cylinder. Have it up into the cab of the vehicle. Now I'm going to connect this into there. But what I'm going to have to do is put a nice tight bend on this because I don't want this to come way out and go around because it'll be in the way of this emergency brake lever. So I want to make a nice tight bend there. And how I'm going to do that is I have this bender. We use this a lot for refrigerant work. For bending copper tubing, and I'm going to try it on this brake line. So how this bender works, if you want to make a nice tight bend and not have any kinks or anything, you find the right groove for the right size pipe that you're dealing with. We're working with 3/16, which is a smaller size. So you put this, let's say you put this here, and this has corresponding little grooves also that goes around this pipe here. And so wherever you want to have a bend, you figure the bend to be centered on this circle here, and then you just pull this around nice and easy. You get a nice, perfect bend. So I get that connection made. Nice, tight bend there. And it sweeps right down into the lower part. I follow the contour of the other lines that are going in there. And now I'll work my way down underneath. Let's go take a look and see how the sap's doing. It's definitely a lot warmer today than yesterday. Yesterday, I think it was 1 degree or -5 degrees. So it's steaming away pretty good. That was about halfway full. I want to say about an hour and a half ago. So it's definitely getting down there. But I'll check on it a little while. File looks good. All right, it's done. I have a junction area there Got new lines running over to the, can't really see it that good, but all the brake lines are completely changed all the way over from the master cylinder all the way to the back of the unit, back to the truck. Worked out pretty well. Had a couple of leaks, but I just found I have to really tighten these quite a bit. It's good, it worked out really well. So now Tracy will give me a hand and we'll bleed the brakes. I'm noticing something when I try to bleed the brakes. The brake pedal gets stuck. It don't move that freely. And the spring seems to be fine. That's that recoil spring that's supposed to actually put pressure on it to make it go back. But it seems to be, I don't know if it's corroded inside of it. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking this apart and seeing if it needs to be lubricated on the inside of it. Clean it up with a wire wheel and see if it can move easier. It seems to be working really stiff. It's fixed yet. The the nut and the bolt that hold that together, that thing was so tight that you could not even move it. So I got a big wrench on it, got an opposing wrench on the other side, loosened it up, and now the pedal works perfect. It looks like it's an aviation nut, so I'm not worried about loosening it up and it backing off. I was able to get a lot of fluid, a lot of oil on the inside of that. So as of now, unless it seems to start sticking again, I'm not going to take that apart. So now I'm going to go through the process of bleeding the brakes. The brakes are 100% working now. They're filled with fluid. They're all bled out. And I pumped them really hard and there's no visible signs of leaks anywhere, which I'm really happy about. I actually have jumped onto the emergency brake and loosened up the linkage that goes to the emergency brake. This is actually the emergency brake here, and it locks up the drive shaft. So it's kind of a different way than I'm used to for emergency brakes. Usually I've seen them always in this tire, and that's how they usually lock them up. But I've loosened up the linkage and it's moving pretty freely now, but I just have to check the pads in there and just make sure it's good. So next week, I'm thinking of working on some of the wiring, maybe getting some rear tail lights and seeing if I can get those to work. But I'm going back and forth. I kind of would like to start working on the bed, which is just outside that door. But I'm not sure if I want to fill up the garage with the welding smoke too much more. But I'm not sure. I'll weigh it out. I would love to, like I was saying before, take this on a test ride. I do have two new tires. I didn't end up getting those tires in Southern Mass. So I'm thinking of grabbing some of the tires off the Willys, the CJ2A, and getting this so it can roll pretty dependably. But yeah, so I'm thinking of getting the tires off the CJ2A and popping them on here. They have the same lug bolt pattern. So I don't know. I'll see how next week goes. Tracy is well underway on the seat. She's made good progress on the seats. She's having a little problem with her sewing machine, but she's also going to be working on the wall door panels. Those are actually on the top right there now. So we're going to get underway with that. But we'll see what next week brings. everybody have a great week, and I'll see you in the garage next week.